My name is Gary Allen. I'm one of the hosts for St. Matthew's United Methodist Church, which is the sponsoring organization as a civic duty. We can do that because the race for mayor or any council member is a non-partisan race, okay? As a matter of fact, of the 163 municipalities in Maryland, only 3 have partisan races. We're not one of them. This is one of the few events that's available to the citizens to actually talk to, view, and hear from the candidates in a unique situation called a special election. There aren't many special elections in the history of this community. As a matter of fact, when it was originally incorporated, we didn't have special elections. The mayor pro tem automatically succeeded the mayor if he left office. But the charter was changed in the late 1990s, early 2000s, I don't remember exactly, and we adopted a special election process, much like Maryland uses in other situations for House of Delegates and other elections like county council. Having said all of that, I want to welcome you to St. Matthew's United Methodist Church. It's our pleasure to provide this opportunity for you to meet the candidates for mayor for the city on a special election to be held on April 6th.
7.
Of 2020.
7.
Did I say it wrong? I thought it was not April 6th, it's April 7th? April 7th, Tuesday. Thank you for that correction. It is a very special election. Having said all of that, I just wanted to share, we're very enthusiastic to have you here this evening. I had the pleasure of reading a book this past week. I want to recommend it. It's called Boss Lincoln. Boss Lincoln, there are over 2,000 books about President Lincoln, and the most recent one, and probably one of the most unique, talks about Lincoln as a partisan official. I said this was nonpartisan. I raised that because while he was a Whig, which was in 1847, and he was looking to run for Congress at that time, he made a remarkable quote. He says, "We're boiling over in ambition with too few opportunities to accommodate it. We only have one mayor, and we have a lot of candidates who want to pursue that opportunity." We're going to hear from them this evening. It's my pleasure now to turn to our co-presenter this evening. He's going to ask a lot of the questions. Sue.
Gary, and welcome everybody. We're going to get right to it. But first, I want to thank the folks who have helped make this possible. George in the back, wave your hand. He's our community television man. You can clap for him. All right. That's the last clap, because being recorded, it interferes with what's going on. So thank you for that. But I want to, our greeters, Maureen Fine and Ellen Moore and Dr. Latoya Phillip, you just raise your hand. Thank you for them. To Dr. Zipporah Miller, who's right here. She's the microphone maven. So when the audience gets up to speak, she's the bad guy. You know, if you go on, you dribble, you do something, she's going to stop you. Then we have our invaluable timers, John Teasdale and Serena Power, right here helping us out. But I also want to take a moment to thank our pro tem mayor, Dufour Wolfley, for carrying on in this really challenging time. No city manager, no mayor, but here's our mayor. And thank you so much, Dufour. Okay, as I said, there's no applause. We're going to do well, after that. That's it. At the end, you can do that, but we want to stay as quiet as possible. And let's begin. What we want to do is to give each of the candidates a chance to introduce themselves. Now, Sephora rolled the dice before, and number 4 came up. So whoever's number 4 is going to begin by introducing themselves. They each have 1 minute, which is being timed.
Michael Estève.
Conrad Nkimbi.
Next.
Wanda Rogers. Roxy Ndebumadu.
Takisha
Takisha Brown,
Rebecca Pearce,
Babatunde Alegbeleye.
Remington, Tennessee.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Roxy Ndebumadu, and I want to start by thanking the organizers, thanking all of the candidates for being here this evening. I currently am the District 4 City Council representing the city of Bowie. And for the last 6 years of my life, I have represented District 4 proudly and graciously. As the former mayor pro tem, 27 of my 32 years have been spent in Bowie. We moved to the city of Bowie in 1999 when we relocated from Greenbelt, Maryland. I am a product of Bowie High School and a graduate of the amazing Howard University here in Washington, D.C., and am now the proud founder of a neuroscience technology company. I decided to put my hat in for mayor because I understood what Bowie was leaving on the table and had the experience in my former career in big tech, working at Microsoft and Amazon and other technology companies, how to go out there and get it. And so, thank you.
good evening. I am Takisha Brown. I stand before you as a mother, a community leader and activist, as a mentor, and more importantly, as your candidate. I am running because Bowie deserves leadership that understands, listens, and delivers real results in public accountability, economic development, education, and youth. I am a native Washingtonian, District of Columbia educated, American University undergrad, Georgetown Law, JD and LLM in taxation, and Harvard University School of Business, certificate in reimagining strategy. I have over 30 years of professional experience managing multi-million-dollar budgets and also people. And I have also bring transparency, accountability, and listening ear as your mayor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rebecca Pearce, and with my name being Rebecca in Hebrew, it means to tie or bind, and that's exactly what I'm going to do here in Bowie. I've been a resident of Bowie for over 10 years. I went to Benjamin Tasker, Bowie High School, and then I graduated from the illustrious Howard University with a degree in political science. Since graduating, I've navigated different areas of the political arena, and I've been in advocacy my entire life. I love people, I love community, bringing people together, and just advocating for the change that I've always wanted to see since I was younger. I truly believe right now it's imperative for the younger generation to step up and be the change that this world needs. It's time for us to invest in our future because it belongs to us, and that's why I'm running, to make that change and encourage the youth to step up. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Before we start, I think we should put a little prayer for Mr. Brady. He would have been here this evening, but because he's sick, that's why he's not able to be here. So let's put a little prayer for him. Babatunde Alegbeleye has been rooted in this city for over 30 years. As a resident, a taxpayer, and a neighbor, I am not a career politician looking for a stepping stone. I am a concerned citizen who has watched this beautiful city evolve and intimately familiar with its specific hyper-local challenges. I have built a thriving life, career, and family in Bowie. My story is the true American story in real life. I am the bridge between Bowie's past proud history and its dynamic future. I am your next mayor.
My name is Remington, Tennessee, and I am a proud, lifelong resident of Bowie, Maryland. I've attended Pointer Ridge Elementary School. I've graduated from Bowie State University. I'm back at Bowie State University right now pursuing a master's in school counseling. I believe that Bowie has so much potential, and the way that we can really grow that potential is by getting our youth more invested. I believe with my background in education and in counseling that the growth of our community would definitely start with the youth, but it would travel upwards. I'm not a politician. I'm not going to use this for any sort of growth to the next thing. I am a educator in the community who cares about wanting to keep Bowie as beautiful as it should be.
Thank you.
Good evening. We can do so much better than that. I know it's a Thursday night. Good evening. Good evening. I'm Michael Estève. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a lifelong Bowie resident raised by a Prince George's County public school teacher and a U.S. Army officer. I'm a product of Prince George's County Public Elementary and Middle Schools, DeMatha High School, and Loyola University, Maryland, where I double majored in political science and French because I wanted to be unemployable in 2 languages. After college, I went to work as a small business loan officer supporting customers in and around Bowie. In 2015, I ran for and was elected to the Bowie City Council and changed my day job to the nonprofit sector, where I worked supporting kids and adults with intellectual disabilities. Most recently, I was appointed Deputy Communications Director of a $4.3 billion state agency. In my 10 years on the Bowie City Council, I'm most proud to have fought consistently to preserve green and open space, to consistently oppose special developer tax deals, to establish new parks, new trails, all the while keeping our property tax rate flat for 14 consecutive years, growing our reserve fund, and protecting our AAA bond rating.
Thank you,
I
Michael.
appreciate your time tonight. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Conrad Nkimbi. So I'm not AI, as everybody else is, practicing things. But I can tell you that I come from a political background. My father was going to be president of Cameroon, but this is America. I was born here in San Francisco, and my mom was Black American. So the goal here, in terms of success, you think of every politician, they've been in these positions, whether it's, council members, but everything is similar. So how can you change everything? So what I'm doing is I have networks, I have lots of connections. I graduated from UMGC, graduated from Prince George's Community College, and also, I've got top schools like Harvard University, et cetera, I got accepted into. Both of my parents went to Harvard. So the goal here is to transition in terms of children developing their financial status and to be financially free.
Thank you. Wanda?
Good evening, Bowie. So glad to be here with you tonight. I'm Wanda Rogers. I'm Bowie City Council member at large. I have been a resident of the city of Bowie for almost 27 years, where my husband and I own a small business over in Pointer Ridge, Bowie, I'm sorry. It is my pleasure to be here. I will tell you that I have spent the last couple years learning and understanding municipal government. I had spent 37 years in the federal sector, Department of Treasury, where I was a senior executive, a part of that elite service responsible for the financial operations of the federal government. I wasn't responsible for billions of dollars, I was responsible for trillions of dollars. And I also was responsible for over 3,000 employees. I believe that with a weak mayor form of government, we need someone that has leadership experience, someone that can negotiate and build relationships among not only our council, but our you see, John, you just threw me off. Thank you.
Thank you, Wanda. All right, now, we're going to move on to the first question. This is a question that we're going to give to them, and following their answers, and each one will have 1 minute, then it will be the audience time to do that. So consider, while you're listening, a question. No comments, no nothing, just a question, a simple question. This is our question. What options would you pursue to improve the economic situation in Bowie? Examples could be employment opportunities, more upscale restaurants, shopping, etc. And my dice roller has told me that the number 2 will begin.
Okay, the art of deception is very dangerous. We've got, let's just say, experienced politicians here. They've been in power for 5-6 years, but what changes can you say rather than just speak your mind? In terms of Bowie itself, I played sports, soccer, lots of athletes in Bowie, but if we're not capable of developing these players and being professional athletes, when are you going to change these things? Let's look at all our Bowie state itself. The question is, you go to college, you graduate, 4 years in, next thing you know, they question you. You try looking for a job, they're asking, are you experienced? How can I be experienced? I just graduated. Does that make any sense? So now the goal is for big tech companies to come to Bowie, Maryland, whether it's culinary as well, instantly. So sometimes classism, we question ourselves, why is there classism? You know, why are they segregating the wealthy, the middle class, and the poor?
Thank you. Okay, Wanda, would you follow, please?
Thank you for the question. Options to improve economic development or the situation here in Bowie. First, we need to develop a vision. And after we develop that vision, and that's something that we, the current council, have been talking about, then we need to create a strategy that's intentional around business. So we have to look at how we fund and support small businesses. We have to look at how we attract and retain medium-sized businesses or even large businesses in Bowie. Because once we get the businesses in, then employees will come in. More, homes will have to be available for those employees, and that brings in your grocery stores and your shopping centers and your restaurants. So I do believe that economic development is extremely critical, that we really need to focus on establishing an economic development corporation, which we're also looking at in the city of Bowie. So thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you for the question. The way that I look at this is in 3 core buckets. Economic development needs to do 3 things. Number 1, bring in commercial revenue. Number 2, bring in employers. Employers that can be matched made with small businesses so that they can thrive alongside bigger corporations as well. And then number 3, recreational amenities, so you have restaurants and things that you can go to. In my 6 years of council, I am the only one who has gone out and actively recruited businesses to this community and played an active role in negotiating for those businesses to come here. I do support the creation of an economic development corporation because we know that we need consolidation to work with our partners at Bowie State, to work with the County Economic Development Corporation, to also work with the state of Maryland so that we can get those dollars here so that we can attract and recruit the businesses that we need and pour into the small businesses that we already have so that they can thrive and you can have the live, work, and play model that you so desperately need. Thank you.
Okay. Takisha?
We need new energy and new ideas. The first thing I would do is grow our commercial tax base from 14% to 18% over time. That way we will have less dependency on our property taxes, which is approximately $44 million of our $131 million budget for FY26. I would also revitalize all of Bowie. Consider coordinated mixed-use districts with dining, entertainment, housing, and public gathering spaces at Bowie Town Center and Melford. I would make Old Bowie the city's small business and cultural district using facade grants, business retention tools, and community events. I would also create a Bowie business pipeline with Bowie State University and the Bowie Incubator Center building incentives for built graduates. And I will establish an economic scoreboard tracking things so our residents can judge by the facts, and we will track things such as vacancy rates, job assistance, and redevelopment milestones. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Economic development is really, really important. And as we all know, the town center is under new management, and this is the most opportune time for us to truly come together as a community to advocate for the quality restaurants and businesses that we've all been wanting. Anytime I step out to speak with residents, they all place emphasis on not feeling comfortable going to Annapolis to go to a Whole Foods or feeling as though there's no quality places and places to eat. And I'm so glad that we have the Peer Green now at Bowie Town Center, because those are the exact restaurants that will continue to help the economy grow here as we are looking for these healthy incentives to keep us alive. And we also have new businesses that are coming into Bowie that will gain more traction, that will lead to more jobs and more money flowing on a weekly basis. And I will continue to uphold those relationships that I already do have to ensure that the economy continues to thrive. Thank you.
Smart economic growth and also revitalizing our main street. A thriving Bowie requires a robust, self-sustaining local economy. My vision focuses on aggressively supporting existing local businesses that have survived tough times. You know what I mean. I will propose cutting unnecessary municipal red tape to attract fresh, high-quality investments to areas like the Free State Shopping Center and Bowie Town Center, ensuring that expansion does not just benefit a few, but elevates property values and job opportunities across every zip code in this our community. Also, we already have the economic committee in the city of Bowie. I will bring them in because they are talented, and whatever they present, I will work on it as your mayor to make sure we have a better.
Thank you. Remington?
Thank you for the question. To strengthen Bowie's economy, I really just want to focus on two things initially: supporting small businesses and giving our residents more opportunity. That would look like we can explore some small business grants. We can support local shopping initiatives. I even want to experiment a little bit with our local farmers market so we can get more revenue going there. I also want to deepen our connections and partnerships with Bowie State University, Prince George's Community College, and even University of Maryland. These are all pathways where we can potentially create more internships, more entrepreneurship pathways for our students and working professionals. Bowie also, as it grows, we need to be thoughtful about our growth direction. We don't need any more gas stations. We don't need any more food chains. We need diverse businesses and amenities that will better serve our residents and give people a reason to come visit our beautiful city.
Thank you.
How many people here, raise your hand if you own a brick and mortar store of any kind? Raise your hand. I got one in the back. What store is it? Was it easy to open? No. Do you know how much it costs to open a business in this area? $1.5 million. Do you know how long it takes for a typical business to open its doors? 2.5 years. The only people who can open businesses in this area are already rich. That's why we have so many gas stations. That's why we have so many fast food joints. It's all high margin stuff. We have to work as a state, as a county, and as a locality to make sure that we're getting rid of the bureaucracy and the red tape that's keeping good businesses away. Finally, one little thing. Most profitable restaurant in Bowie. Any guess? Chick-fil-A. Second most profitable restaurant in Bowie. Other Chick-fil-A. So you all need to go shop at more places so we can bring new places in too. Be a part of the solution. Thank you.
This is now your time. And the way we're going to do it, and please be cooperative, we are crammed in the aisles to do a line. Sephora, Dr. Miller standing here. Dr. Phillip, raise your hand. Those of you who wish to speak, I want you to line up by Dr. Phillip. All right? If you would do that now. And what we're going to do is have one person come down the aisle at a time, so George can get that person clearly. Please limit your talk, please. Thank you. Dr. Phillip, you got it okay? I see some county council people here. Maybe they can push them back. Thank you. And then if you would just make yourself known to Dr. Phillip so she knows you're in line. Now, while they're getting ready, you all should have gotten a handout that gives you contact information for the candidates. This is there. They have given permission for that. It also gives you information about where your polling places are. So if you have questions, that should be answered there. You can also get an absentee ballot, and I'm guessing that as far as where you're going to vote, you probably got something that looks like this in the mail. Nod your head if you did. Wonderful. Then you know where you're voting, if you choose to do it that way. All right, we have a first questioner. We're going to begin that way. Now, questioners, please listen. You may ask one candidate, two candidates, or all candidates. That's your choice. Each one will have 1 minute regardless. Please keep your questions short. Thank you.
Good evening, candidates. My name is Liz Anagonio. First, I want to thank all of you for putting yourselves out here and running. It is very inspiring. My question is as follows. ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, has been in Bowie, both staging vehicles and actually taking at least one neighbor who I know of. The Bowie Police Department, Chief Preston, has told us that they don't work with ICE. My question for all of the candidates, 1 minute only, I know it's not an easy question. If elected, what will you do if and when ICE is in Bowie? What will you do to warn and protect our immigrant neighbors? Thank you.
Thank you. The first thing I would do is utilize our city services such as the city alert system, the next door notification or app that's out there, and also Ring, so that when we see these individuals in our neighborhoods, we can put the information out there. The second thing is through the Neighbor by Neighbor initiative, where I would like to have a representative from each section serve on a committee. We can have a person identified that will be able, again, to notify individuals about when ICE is in certain neighborhoods so that we can properly react. And then another thing I would like to do is make sure that we can utilize our public safety officers as individuals are going to school and taking their children to school, and in the afternoons as they're leaving the school system, to provide additional protection so that they know that they will be covered. Thank you.
Thank you for this question. We're living in unprecedented times, and I'm so sorry for the issue that happened with the ICE in your neighbor. It's so unfortunate. With me being mayor, I truly believe that respect is a two-way street, and these are federal agents, and as long as they are not actively harming or coming in between the residents and their safety, there should be a line that's drawn. And I want to ensure my main priority is just simply protecting the citizens of Bowie. That's my number one priority. And whether it's spreading the word through word of mouth or through social media or communication chains to ensure that our immigrant neighbors are staying safe, but also connecting with the Bowie Police Department to ensure that there's a level of respect and understanding as to why the federal agents are here, and they're ensuring that they're not harming us detrimentally, because number one priority is the safety of our residents. Thank you.
In terms of the ICE issue, I myself, as an American of Nigerian descent, if I go out there, anything could happen to me. So as a federal employee for over close to 30 years, anything could happen. If I'm your mayor, when I'm your mayor, what I would do as a former citizen police, we have quite a few of them who have graduated, and some are still in class right now, who volunteered to take the 13-week class. I will bring them together. They will be our ears, because our neighbors protect. When we protect each other, the community becomes safer. So I will employ this past and present community graduates of our citizen police to be our ears. So if they are around, we could pass the word out, and our citizens will be safe. So we don't have anything to worry about as far as I'm concerned when it comes to ICE.
Thank you for the question. Just to piggyback off of what everyone said, this is a serious thing. 7 o'clock in the morning in my neighborhood, there was an ICE raid. But really, we are our brother's keepers, right? So community is just all about connection. See something, say something. As long as we're able to keep connected, just get the word out, whether that be through letting somebody know, making a few calls. We all have social media, some form of it, whether it's Nextdoor, Instagram, Facebook. Just making sure that the word has gotten out, and that's, for right now, the easiest thing that we can do, right? Safety is really going to happen when we all work together, we're all on the same page. So as long as we all just make sure that we have each other's back, then that's the most important thing.
Thank you for the question. I'm going to give everybody an answer that I promise everybody in this room is going to hate. You ready for it? The city of Bowie does not enforce any federal law. Not immigration law, not maritime law, not air and space law. Here's the deal. We do have a problem in Bowie, and it is young people who live here, many who travel here as crime tourists who come and commit crime in Bowie. In the 10 years that we've been kind of seeing some of these repeat things, kids going out at 4 a.m. and pulling on car door handles to see if somebody left their door unlocked so they can take their Apple products, those kids have never been immigrants. They've always been homegrown, local guys. And they come to Bowie, they tell us, for two reasons. We got nice stuff, we don't lock our doors, and a third reason, they don't believe they're going to face consequences here. And so on the immigration stuff, we're not dealing with immigration law one way or the other. But on the crime stuff, we have a lot of work to do creating deterrence across the board.
So I am not a character, and obviously everybody has their own opinions. So we question ourselves, our council members. You guys are the leaders of Bowie. Now you're saying that there's ICE agent in Bowie. Obviously this is high class politics. So you're saying that you're the leaders of Bowie. So how can you guys sit there and and everybody's questioning why is there ICE agents in their resident? So now something you have to question. Are you really the leader? In my opinion, I'll be honest, if anybody is, has a conflict with ICE agents, an illegal isn't capable of being visible. So my point is, if you're an illegal, you put your fingerprints on the table. You're never supposed to be found. So basically, you have no social security, no identification. So in terms of being, the ICE agent coming to Bowie, they're, in the street term, snitching. One of your, maybe your managers, maybe your own, surroundings. So the goal here is to, obviously, be at peace. The reason why we're in Bowie is because we take care of Bowie. So if any ICE agent was to come in Bowie, we're supposed to, file a complaint and arrest them.
So we actually experienced that, and I experienced it while I was on council. And I like to say a couple things. One, when we found out what happened, the city actually reached out to our county partners to find out what kind of resources that we can make available to the family. Because a father was taken away from his children while they were in a car, and he was on his way to take them to school. That was the scenario. So our situation was we wanted to show the humanity, that aspect of it. So what we did, we reached out and found resources because we knew as a city municipality, a city government, we could not interfere with the federal government when they came in. There's a presumption that when this happens, they're dealing with people that are criminals, but only about 10% of those folks that they go after are criminals. So to combine this conversation with crime really bothers me because it's all about humanity, and we do our best to protect our residents when they get into these situations. Thank you.
Liz, let me speak directly to your question. A year ago, I got a call from my mother, who is a U.S. citizen from Nigeria, and she was nervous. She was being pulled over. And the first thing she said when she got pulled over to me is ICE coming to take me? As an only child, that is gut-wrenching to hear from your mother. So let me say this. As a result of my experience running trust and safety at the largest online streaming platform where we coordinate with law enforcement response for issues just like this, I have the experience and know firsthand that sometimes it's proactive leadership. Sometimes it's about coordination to make sure that those agents are not coming to your communities and that you're the voice in the room to make sure that your community is adequately represented so that some of those things stay away. We talk about deterrence, but deterrence starts with proactive awareness and what is not needed in our communities. And the last thing that the city of Bowie needs is ICE agents, because we are a beautiful and thriving community who does not need that type of activity here. So as my responsibility as mayor, it's to protect my constituents and make sure I am that voice in the room. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, candidates. My name is Nichelle. And I have a particular question for Ms. Brown. You mentioned in your introduction about a scorecard, and I'm all about accountability. So if you become mayor, tell me about how that would go, what you would do.
Thank you. Can everyone hear me? Yes. Great. First of all, I actually have a plan. I have identified 4 priorities: public safety, economic development, education, and youth and senior engagement. I also have already identified a 90-day action plan. I have a copy on the table in the back. The first thing I would like to do is meet with the police chiefs to establish and look at our recruitment goals, establish an economic development revitalization task force that consists of residents, business owners, the 2 new developers who just purchased Bowie Town Center, as well as our sister cities such as Crofton, Annapolis, and the District of Columbia. They have revitalized areas, and we can learn and get their pain points from them and all come together. Additionally, partner with Bowie State University and look at those students who are getting teacher certifications or doctorates in social work or psychiatry. Have them come to our school systems and offer those services for free as they're getting school credit. I've already reached out to the president of Bowie State University and all the principals in our local schools, middle, elementary, and high school, so I can discuss this option. The last thing is establish a youth advisory council. Get our youth engaged.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next questioner, please, sir. Yes, yes.
Hello, this is a question directed at Councilwoman Roxy. Can you tell me how your experience on the City Council and as Mayor Pro Tem will inform the way you approach actually bringing businesses to Bowie, and what type of businesses?
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the question. I think in my experience, when I reflect back on being Mayor Pro Tem, and directly playing an active role in recruiting businesses, it informed me that we needed alignment, we needed leadership, we needed a vision, and we needed to go out there and recruit the businesses that we actually needed and to brand Bowie differently. Sometimes the challenge is that we leave our destiny to the developers around us to tell us what we need, and it's time that we start to tell people what they need. So I would leverage my experience as previous Mayor Pro Tem by going directly to the business, to reaching out directly to the CEOs, to bring them directly back to this community and solicit that feedback from the residents in terms of exactly the businesses that they would like to see, to make the case and to expedite permitting to bring those businesses directly to the city of Bowie. And I've done that. I've done that in bringing service centers to the city of Bowie and recruiting different restaurants to the city of Bowie and making sure that those employers are here that are bringing jobs and reflecting the retail that we'd like to see here in our city. Thank you for the question.
Thank you. Next questioner, please.
Hello, my name is Pat Groves. I live in the K section here for almost 50 years. And my question is, with the aging of the Bowie community, we've got many, even fourth generation Bowieyites here in Bowie now, and I'm one of the older generations. Anyway, on Superior Lane, there's the Bowie Professional Building that has been totally an eyesore for how many years now, and that would be such a perfect place for a low-income senior housing. You could walk to the doctors, walk to the stores.
Please
and
ask
I know it
your
would have
question.
To be, excuse
What
me?
is your question?
Well, what would you do to help that come along, to make more low-income senior housing? The Bowie Commons is not enough with only 36 units.
Thank
You're on the
you.
waiting list for 5 years.
Do you
if
want?
you live that long?
Did you wish each candidate to answer that?
For all of them, please.
Okay, very
Thank you.
good.
Sorry.
My dice roller says number 7. Babatunde.
I'm not sure that we can make sure, I'm not sure that we can make the owner of that building to be turned to a senior facility. However, we could discuss with them, maybe they are willing to do that. I do not know the owners. Maybe the council members, maybe they know those people. However, I agree with you in terms of the availability of space for our seniors, because that's some of the things they talked to me about. We will have to create some way for our seniors. A few years ago, there was a talk about that, to add additional living, low income for all these buildings, all these facilities that they are building all around. I do not know whether those developers put forward what they say they're going to do in terms of adding low-income residencies. So, as your mayor, I will reach out and make sure all these developers, they really follow up on what they sign up to do. You can't force them, yet we can penalize them.
Thank you. Remington?
Thank you for the question. I firmly believe that our seniors, we owe them a lot of respect. They built our community. I can't make any promises that that's something that we can do, but I have no issues going to explore avenues to, try and find ways, or even like a compromise there. I don't ever want to make any open-ended promises of something that might not be attainable, but I'm a practical guy. I would love to find a solution for that, and I definitely agree. There's something that can be done with that building, and as mayor, I would definitely research that and look into it.
Thank you. Michael?
question was about how to provide more affordable senior housing. And this is another one where I got to be real honest with you. The answer is not something you're going to love. We actually have had a couple of proposals to build higher density senior housing in Bowie over the years. One was actually about 5 or 6 years ago. It was off of 5th Street in Old Bowie. You know what the residents in that community said? No. So nobody wanted new construction. The city made an effort. We actually got a unanimous vote several years ago to redevelop the Sears property at the time, built some high-density residential at the center, bring in some new commercial. It was a rare feat to get 7 people to agree on something, and we were talking about potentially having some dedicated senior housing there like we did at Wall Chapel. And the company, just as we approved that, got bought by another company. That company went bankrupt. That company got bought by another company, and that company became the furniture store that's there now. So that's just an example of the kind of challenges that we're facing, and that's why, Pat, I'm not going to be able to make any promises about what we can do. That particular building you're talking about was sold to a new owner for about $1.9 million about 4 years ago. We're looking for a new investor to come
Thank
in.
you, Michael.
We don't know what they're going to be able to do yet.
Thank you.
As I always say, I'm not a character or AI. You know, obviously, I always repeat it. These politicians have been in power for 6 or 5 years plus. So now you have to question yourself. I did this, I did that. That's all nonsense. You know, you would have done it your first year, your second term, your third term, nothing. So the question is, how can we change Bowie, Maryland? What we need to do is, we need to speak the, first of all, we have to question ourselves, why do CEOs from all these, areas come to Bowie to build their apartment buildings, et cetera? These are very expensive apartments. We don't have any rooftop bars for adults. We have elderly, civilians or just citizens, senior citizens who need some type of enjoyment. But we don't have these things. So we question ourselves. All these CEOs, they come to Bowie, Maryland, they build these nice buildings, et cetera, their apartments, and vanish. They're residing in Bethesda, et cetera. So we look at ourselves. Is Bowie ever going to change?
Thank you.
Because now they're chugging us in just in the
Thank
pie.
you very much. Wanda?
Thank you. As former president of the Greater Bowie Chamber of Commerce, I can tell you when I sat in that seat for 2 years, it was very difficult to get a clear vision from the city of Bowie on what they wanted to do in that marketplace area. We know that we know that there were going to be apartments there, and we know that businesses came there as a result of that, but the apartments never happened. So therefore, businesses kind of struggle over there, and they're doing a little better as far as during midday, and I can tell you Bowie High School keeps Chick-fil-A in business over in that area, for sure. But one thing that we don't have, if we had a vision that looked at that entire community, we could tell anybody that either owns it or are interested in investing in it, we could be proactive with that and say, hey, look, this is our vision for this section of town. What can you give us? Now, remember, the community has to be a part of that visioning, but that's what I would do. Thank you.
I'm going to stand to answer this question. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. In December of 2025, Governor Westmore designated $69.5 million to community revitalization. We know 2 things in the city of Bowie. Prince George's County has land, and we know that the city of Bowie has land. Now let me talk about Prince George's County. We can proactively work with the Prince George's County Council to designate some of their land as surplus land so that we can work to create these types of housing. In my district, in District 4, not everybody wants to keep their big single-family homes. Some people do want to downsize, so we can partner. Last week, I was meeting with the Housing and Urban Development federal agency, and when I met with them, they said there are federal dollars for this type of housing. But what Bowie needs is proactive leadership with a vision to bring all of these partners together so we can deliver on your needs so you can age in place. Thank you for the question.
Okay, next questioner. Oh, I'm so sorry. You're right. Please go.
Again, I have an answer. I'm not talking around the question. So my economic revitalization task force that I would like to implement that will consist of a variety of members would address it. Sit down with the individuals who currently own that building and actually come up with a plan on what we can do in terms of getting it at 100% vacancy in terms of the senior citizen living facility. Additionally, in having senior and focusing on senior engagement, it will allow us to look at other options as well within our city of Bowie where we can have such a facility. We need to stop saying, oh, we can't do this, or years it's been like this, or you're not going to like the answer. I have expertise in reimagining strategy, ideation, which is why in 2024 I was named Innovator of the Year for the FAA commercial space. Let's all come together and look at different ways to be productive and get something done. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
One last answer. Thank you. So Bowie deserves better, especially our seniors. They are the backbone of this community. I remember in middle school, there was this one lady I always seen walking around every single day, always active, and that's what makes me just love people, but especially our seniors. And I can't make any empty or broken promises, but one thing that I can assure that I'll be here to listen and put my best foot forward to make the change that you guys want to see. And if it doesn't work out, we'll try again. We'll keep going. Change happens from the heart, and a change happens when you come together as a community and show up and be that change. So it's not about putting something in the forefront and not doing anything about it, but it's truly about stepping up, being bold, and advocating for the change you want to see, especially with the senior centers and especially with the buildings. It all happens when we just simply show up and do our part. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my question is for Mr. Estève, Ms. Roxy, sorry, I can't pronounce your last name, Ms. Pearce and Mr. Tennessee. There has been a dramatic increase in homeschooling families since COVID. How would you support the homeschooling families? Thank you.
Mic number 1 was chosen, so you get to go first.
Question was about there's a lot more homeschool families in Bowie, so what are we going to do to support them? The nice thing about Bowie is that for the most part, historically, the whole city council, and I think everyone on the stage who's in office, has been pretty open about supporting every possible alternative to end education, whether that's STEM or Montessori or homeschool. We were really lucky in Rockledge. We had the old Montessori school. Some of you I know had students there. The owner passed away. There was a developer who owned that land and wanted to bring in a new subdivision. They were going to clear out the woods back there and put in a bunch of $1 million homes. The community was able to reach out to that homeowner, just a simple phone call, and we said, hey, you willing to meet with us? They agreed. We talked to them, we explained to them the importance of the school, and we got them to agree to hold off a couple of years and give us time to find a new school. We knew we probably weren't going to get a local public, but we did find an incredible school that served kids in Howard County that was looking for a new home. We were able to help bring them in. We lobbied the county, we lobbied the state, we got them all the paperwork they needed, and now that is a school, again, serving local kids. So there are lots of opportunities that we can continue to support.
Thank you.
So, but it's kind of taped down, so I'll just stay. Thank you for the question. So let me start by saying this. We know that so many Bowie families are starting to homeschool their children. So part of our role as council members, as well as your mayor, is advocating for the change in funding structures. We know that at the end of the day, if it is your choice to homeschool your children, that we should make sure that we are advocating at the county level who controls the Board of Education, who controls the funding structures, as well as the state, to make sure that those dollars are allocated towards you so that you can support a thriving community with your children. And then part of that is supporting the homeschooling communities. We know that sometimes twice a week, homeschooling communities take their children to a particular location and they gather together. So making sure that as we look at budgeting and appropriating dollars towards different initiatives, that we are making sure that as you are gathering as a homeschooling community, we are equipping you with the resources that you need to support the community. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that question. You know, when it comes to the school system here in Bowie, it is directly under the Prince George's County, but as leaders, it is important for us to collaborate with other leaders to advocate for the change that we want to see. And when it comes to the homeschooling system, we really need to hold our entire school system accountable with the curriculum and how well we're pushing our kids, because they are so smart and they deserve to be pushed far beyond their limits because they're very wise. And it's imperative for us to utilize our voice, to partner with higher up leaders, to release funding, to receive grants, to continue to give them an opportunity to learn at the basis that represents who they are and where they're destined to be in the future. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Can you hear me? Okay,
No.
thank you for the question. My background is in education, so this is something that I do take very seriously, right? And I also do know that with COVID, that a lot of family. Hello? This is better? Okay. Okay. All right, okay. Yeah, so my background is in education, so this is something that I do take very seriously. I also do know that with COVID, a lot of families did make that change over to homeschooling because it was safer. But I also do know some of the social effects that does play into. But I do want to still support those families, right? Because at the end of the day, it is the family's choice whether or not they want to go into the county schools, maybe a private school, or for homeschooling. But education is education. So we do need to make sure that these families are being supported with the correct curriculum. And I do have more plans for after-school programs and mentorships that these students should still have access to in order to still boost their social skills afterwards.
Good? Okay. Hi, my name is Fiona Moody. I'm a lifelong Bowie resident. I've been really active. I think I speak for everybody when I say that we're super concerned about overdevelopment here in the city, as well as conflict of interest with our elected representatives taking money from developers. So two-part question here. One of the biggest concerns has been the Mill Branch project that indirectly contributed to the Giant closing there and the sweetheart deals that were involved in that specific project. So I've got two questions for everybody on the panel here. First of all, how do you feel about the developments at South Lake and Mill Branch? And how did you or how would you have voted on those specific developments? And the second part is, as mayor, what would you do to make sure that sweetheart deals don't occur in the future? And will each of you make a pledge this evening not to take campaign finance from developers and only from residents who actually live here in Bowie?
Thank you, that's for everybody, right? This question is for each one.
For everyone.
Okay, number 3.
Thank you for the question. So first I'll say that we that run for office here in Bowie are not allowed to take developer money. So that is part of what we're responsible for not doing. But if it happened when I didn't know anything about it. So what I would like to say is that I believe that in order for a community to thrive, we do have to have some type of managed, purposeful, intentional development that involves an engaged community in that decision making. We cannot sit as a body and make those decisions on behalf of the community. But remember, we live in a capitalistic democracy that allows people to make decisions around what they want to purchase. The other part to this is we do not control zoning in the city of Bowie. It's controlled by the county. So I'm with you. When I see the traffic every day, I am extremely concerned about overdevelopment, but if it's planned and it's managed, then it can be successful. Right now, what you're experiencing wasn't very planned and wasn't very well, it was successful in some sense. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Let me start by saying that I am the only member of City Council who reached out to our city leadership to ask how to repeal the tax incentive that was given to South Lake, because I felt that their commercial development was piss poor. I'm being very honest about that. I'm very transparent. It is very unfortunate to see what is going on with commercial development in our city. It is very poorly planned, and it has no proactive vision currently today. So currently, I am the only council member that is also working to turn those shopping centers around, to recruit the types of retail that we actively see. I send multiple emails to CEOs of the businesses that residents are sending me to try and recruit those businesses directly and place them in those shopping centers to see if we can get out of some of the contracts that currently have been been signed and established by the developers in this region to make sure that we can get the development that residents want to see. So yes, I am currently very disappointed with the state of development. I do not support overdevelopment, and I think there's a proactive and sustainable and innovative way to approach it. Thank you for the question.
Thank you. Again, what you bring up, I actually have identified as an action under the first 30 days if I'm elected to office, which is to establish a strong engagement and communication with our city council. Last Tuesday, or whatever, there was a meeting last week, I don't want to have the specific day, that the city council had, and only one mayor showed up. There was no representation at all as it relates to the city of Bowie. So we need to have stronger engagement and communication with the city council. No, I have concerns about that because those homes that are being built over there, where are the kids gonna go to school? Overcrowded schools. They're gonna go overcrowd in terms of our shopping centers and also in terms of our traffic. I would not have readily voted for that development until we had an informed decision to address all those other things that was just mentioned. I have had discussions with residents and friends about that development, and we definitely are concerned, particularly when across the street from it, they're not sustainable retail businesses or restaurants. So we need to look at everything as a whole. Thank you very much. I have to stop.
Thank you so much for your question. I truly believe that it's very important to collaborate. Collaboration is key when it comes to this, collaborating with the county officers who are in leadership positions because they are the ones who actively are in charge of land use and how it's allocated here in Bowie. And when it comes to what we like and what we don't like, it's imperative for us to utilize our voice. That's very important, especially because it doesn't only affect the older community, but the younger community as well. And we need to get them up and active within it all for the most part. And so when it comes to South Lake and Milford, it's an unfortunate overcrowded situation, but all we can do is continue to advocate for the change that we want to see. So thank you for expressing your concern. And as mayor, I'll ensure to continue to proactively listen and do what I can to ensure that we mitigate the issue. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. In terms of the two places you are talking about, they've already been built. Again, somebody mentioned there was a sweetheart deal that was done. It shouldn't have happened. When I'm your mayor, I will make sure, I'm making a promise tonight, we will repeal that sweetheart deal. It will not happen again in this city because, look at it, all of you are here to support any of our leaders here to become mayor. Now, the traffic that I see every day, somebody mentioned where would the children go? All of this, it makes our city a little bit more, how do you call it? It's more, yes. So we need to figure a way, again, calling everybody together, sort of a town hall, and voice our opinions to the council. And as you said, I don't take any money from anybody. Okay.
Thank you, Remington.
Thank you for the question. Okay. I agree. I did not like that development. We can't really turn back the clocks. What's done is done, right? But same thing I tell my students all the time, one wrong answer isn't like the end of the world. It's a learning experience. So now that we've seen what's happened and we know that this is not what we were looking for, we know moving forward what we need to do to try and correct that, right? So again, this all comes from the community. We have our voices. We know what we need to do. I'm not going to take any money from anybody. I barely took money from people for my campaign. So I firmly believe that we do need to have some better discussions about the overdevelopment because I'm not a fan of it. I know myself. I've been here 20 years. I can speak for a lot of you. I know what we say, that what we love about Bowie is that it's pretty quiet. It's very low key. We don't need all of that extra coming in to just take away from what we really love about Bowie. So just moving forward, we have a better idea of what we really plan for the city.
Michael?
All right, so I think it was a two-parter. Part one was South Lake, Mill Branch, and part two was money. Let's start with money. I've been running for office since 2015, All my campaign finance reports are public. All of our campaign finance reports are public at cityofbowie.org. You'll notice that 99% of my money comes from residents, constituents, people who live right here in Bowie. 1% of my money comes from my mom. That's how I operate. On South Lake and Mill Branch, South Lake I want to take a second on because that one was especially egregious. South Lake in 2018, the city voted on an annexation agreement. They were going to tear down all that forest, put in 1,400 new homes, a bunch of new businesses, and in exchange for being annexed into Bowie, they wanted a $30 million tax agreement, $20 million from the county, 10 from the city, to subsidize their infrastructure for 30 years. We knew at the time we wouldn't be able to undo that deal. Then in 2020, after the election, they came back to us to approve a detailed site plan. We could have said no, but only 2 of us said no at the time. The other guy's standing there, the other one is here. We have to keep saying no to these deals, or we're going to keep not being able to undo these things that have been done. Once they're built, they're built.
Yes.
Okay, so obviously Bowie generates $130 million roughly in terms of their budget. So we question ourselves, why did the past mayor resign? Is that something you have to question? Is he pocketing money? So you have to question. There's roughly 6 or 7 leaders who are roughly making maybe $200K yearly in Bowie. You got the chief of police, the general managers, etc. Roughly 6. I think there are 500 plus employees in Bowie, in the city of Bowie. So you question. Bowie, it's the same thing. So where's that money going? If you have to question yourself, where's the money going? I don't see any new, maybe soccer fields, football fields, basketball courts, etc. So now, are you intellectually challenging to these other leaders who come and build their nice infrastructures, and whether it's, these, which he was questioning, I forgot. So these places, are you capable of challenging them mentally, or intellectually? So that's something these, what do you call it?
Thank you.
Sounds good.
And thanks, George. All right, let's re-begin.
Good evening, candidates. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to ask you questions. It's not quite often that we get that. But my question is, when you speak on economic development, who does it benefit? Does it benefit the grocery store chains who bring in millions of dollars, but when you go into the store, they only have one cashier working? Does it benefit the millionaires that are building homes all over the city? Does it benefit minorities? Let me say that, minority developers. Do it benefit them? Who does it benefit? Does it benefit the grocery chain employees who's making minimum wage? So my question to you all is, who does economic development benefit? Does it benefit those of us who have to sit in traffic on 301 and now 214? Is it going to benefit Metro down the road?
Please,
who does it benefit? Thank you.
Is this for every candidate?
It's for any candidate who wants to speak on it.
Well, let's give them all a chance. Number 6, would you begin, please?
Yes, thank you so much for that question. I come from a low-income household, and so I watched my parents struggle growing up. They are migrants from Sierra Leone. And when you say who does this benefit, in my eyes, as mayor, I would truly want it to benefit the residents of Bowie. As we open up new businesses, small mom and pop shops, those are the economic development opportunities that I want to continue to promote here in Bowie. And it starts from the bottom, we work our way up, not to put more money in higher corporations, but to put more money, having more jobs for Bowie residents. For the federal workers who were laid off, my sincere apologies to you guys, but I want to ensure that you guys are able to, we are able to open doors for you guys so you could receive more opportunities to increase your income through this economic development plan that we have in place here in Bowie as mayor. So I thank you so much for your question, and just know I see you, I hear all the workers, and I'm here with you, and I want to continue to promote us so we can continue to elevate and advance in the next stages of life. So thank you.
Economic development benefits all of us. It's not just the developers. Economic development benefits all of us, not just the developers, but the community if it's done right. We talked about what we've talked about since a few minutes ago, traffic issues, overdevelopment, all of these intertwine. We need to, it's not that we can fight it, but we need to discuss these issues to the right people, meaning the developers that are coming in. When we talk about economic, I believe my partner right here talked about small businesses, which is true. A friend of mine just opened Pure Green. It's a good friend of mine. Anyway, those are the kind of businesses that we need to encourage to come into our city so that our children could get opportunity to get a job and learn how to become somebody for themselves.
Thank you for the question. I agree. When it comes to economic growth, it should benefit us, right? Not all of the times it's going to seem like that, but at the end of the day, that's what we want it to benefit. It needs to benefit us. So our growth needs to be thoughtful. We need to make sure we're really putting thought and plans into where we are allowing places to come in and take over some spaces that we can like spend money in. I saw with the buyover of the Bowie Town Center that 14% is still available for leasing. This is like good opportunity for some place, like small businesses. Small businesses is the lifeblood of communities. As a community, we need to keep our money in the community, right?
All right, so I think we've gotten 3 questions tonight about economic development, which is great. Over the last couple of years, this has gone from an issue that was maybe like 5 or 6 on the list to one or two in recent years. It's really important to understand 2 things. Here's what the city can't do. We can't change where our customers choose to shop, period. Here's what we can do. We can make smarter deals with developers where we're not giving everything away in exchange for promises, but in exchange for concrete, real, contractual goods for our community. If there's going to be building in this city, let it be where it's needed. Let us redevelop the aging commercial shopping centers that are falling apart in front of us and making us look terrible. Let's redevelop those corridors that are empty and just collecting litter. Let's focus on the areas that are already built and make those better, rather than tear down the forests and the trees and the green space that make this community special. That's where I stand.
As I respect every politician on this table, you know, the newer politicians, respectfully, you guys are still getting there. And I guess the ones that are more, older, it's a we. I don't see any changes. Like, when you look at the economy, you have to ask yourself, are you competent enough to challenge these CEOs, these managers, bosses? We question ourselves, why don't we have an Adidas store in Bowie, Maryland, a Nike store, or whether, just find places? We don't have any of these things. What's the difference from Bowie to Virginia, Arlington, et cetera, or, DC itself? They've always said we, but I don't see any changes. The goal is there are 2 ways to being rich or wealthy. Inheritance, number 1, and another one is getting out by yourself. So if you're not capable of doing these things, it's not gonna go your way. Investing, lots of investors, so whoever's an investor in here, you guys know the deal. You got children, you want your children to be financially free. So the goal is, we look at it,
Thank you.
Thank you for the question. I can tell you thought about it. I will say this much. I was told that the property taxes that the city of Bowie receives from Bowie Town Center is about $850,000. So automatically people think that once you have a business there, Bowie is gaining all these resources. But the resources come in other ways. They come in the ways that our citizens are able to get jobs. Those jobs turn into purchases of either homes or cars. It fuels the economy for our community. So economic development is more to it than just, putting putting developments in place. What it's about is a community coming together and figuring out how best to move forward, having a vision, and that vision leads to having businesses that the community can support, that the community can engage in, and the community can thrive with. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the question, sir. Let me tell you who it needs to benefit. It needs to benefit all of us. It needs to benefit our revenue and the diversification that we so desperately need so we can stop relying on your property taxes. It needs to benefit the small businesses that are in Bowie that are not getting opportunities from the movements that are happening all around us. It needs to benefit the infrastructure upgrades that we need. The city of Bowie loses out on billions of dollars because we don't have the revitalizations happening at our shopping centers, and people are traveling, billions of cars are traveling up and down our corridors. That is lost revenue for the city. So it needs to benefit us. It needs to benefit our infrastructure. And we know that if it starts to benefit us, the infrastructure upgrades will come on 301. They will come on 197. They will come on 450. So it needs to start benefiting us. And with my leadership, that is the type of proactive vision that I bring to the table. Thank you for the question.
I'll round out the last question for the night. Economic development benefits those who are at the table, who are able to make the rules and the laws that they can benefit. It does not benefit everyone, which is why my economic revitalization task force, as I've stated, will be diversified and include everyone in terms of residents, business owners, potential business owners, current developers, and like I said, also individuals from our current jurisdiction so that we can all learn and grow together. I am the oldest of four from a single mother, and I understand how it is to go to places and again, not be a part of experiencing the positive aspect in terms of economic development. However, education, work, hard work, you can get there. And so we need to also re-educate our kids, which is what I plan to do with my Youth Advisory Council and with our partnership with Bowie State University, and also with the financial literacy program that I recently started for the city of Bowie residents. Thank you very much. I have to stop.
It's time for our closing round. I'm going to call on Remington, number 8, for our last round of questions. What was there, one more to go?
No question. This is it. Summation.
I'm sorry, say it again. This is your summary, no, not a question about why you think they ought to vote for you. This is your last opportunity for 2 minutes, okay? We're going to start with Remington at the end and come back this way, okay? Oh.
So there were 3 cards this time. Okay. 60 seconds, 50.
The timing changed a little bit because you get a little longer. Go ahead, Remington, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I just want to thank all of you guys for coming out here today, taking time out of your day to come and listen to us. I'm a very succinct guy. I really don't do a lot of extra talking that needs to be done, so I'll keep it short and sweet for you all. I care about this community. I've lived in it for 20 years. I've been educated in this community. I've educated in this community. I care about it. I love this city. And I definitely think that Bowie just needs a little bit of a shakeup. And I'd love to be the catalyst to be that shakeup that it needs.
Raise your hand if you came here and were genuinely undecided about who to vote for. Raise your hand. Not bad. I've been to some of these where, I kid you not, there were 6 undecided voters. And so a huge round of applause for all of you for coming out tonight and participating. Sorry, they're saying no applause. You can applaud in your head. I do want to say a big thank you, though, to the organizers for bringing us all together tonight. I know this was a labor of love. And I especially want to thank all of you for taking the time. I'm a lifelong resident. I'm running for mayor because Bowie is home. I grew up in the Northridge neighborhood in the Q section. Yes, we have a Q section. Yes, they made up a lot of words to create a Q section. I, after college, moved into a house on the same street where I grew up. During the pandemic, I moved into Levitt, Bowie, where I get to drink the city water with all of you good folks. My spouse's family is buried right up the road at Sacred Heart Church. Bowie is home. And with any luck, I will be here for the rest of my life. Bowie's got a lot going for it. We have a AAA bond rating. We have a wonderful community of worldly, well-educated people from every corner of the earth. We have a lot of strengths, but we are going to have a lot of challenges ahead. Just a few years ago, we could keep a police officer for about 20 years. Now we're keeping them for about 5. A trash worker for 30. Now they stick around for 7 months. A trash truck that used to cost $120,000 now costs the city $230,000. It is going to get harder and harder to maintain the high-quality services we all expect and deserve. And so we need a mayor who has the experience, the energy, and the focus to do the job on day one. The night of our swearing in is our very first budget hearing, and staff is going to deliver us some good news, some bad news, and some ugly news, and we need to be prepared. But I believe that working together, we can face tough choices, we can make hard decisions, and we can make this a community we're all proud to call home.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Obviously, there are classifications. I always say there's the wealthy and there's the poor. Louder. Obviously, there are classifications of the wealthy and the poor. So we question ourselves. Why is there a blue-collar worker and why is there a white-collar worker? Because I'm versatile. I'm great at both. You know, I'm a billionaire as we're speaking right now, but I'm not in possession of my wealth. So my father is on a bill of African currency. But either way, it doesn't make any. It doesn't matter. I'm a blue-collar worker because you know I've worked whatever type of job. Success comes from strategy. There's no such thing as a wealthy person being a white-collar worker or a blue-collar worker. The wealthiest plumber in the world is a billionaire. The wealthiest construction worker is a billionaire. So in turn, you look at the white-collar worker, we have these, these tech buildings, etc. Not everybody in these white-collar, nice suits and ties, etc. are making 6 figures, or maybe even higher. Some are making 50, 40, you don't even know. So now you're thinking, you're seeing them, you're portraying them as these successful characters. It doesn't work like that. So the goal is to try and change all this structure. Your children specifically, start from young. Like I said, there are lots of investors in here. You guys can invest lots of money. Whenever they get older, your funding grows. So whether they get a job, what's it called? Whether they get a minimum wage job, they could put $100, $200, etc. every paycheck. It grows as time goes. By the time they're 18, they've had roughly 50K plus, guaranteed. So if they're sitting here telling you these lies, I've done lots of work in Bowie. I've worked at Domino's Pizza's delivery driver. I've worked at, Wingstop. I was an assistant manager. You guys have probably seen me there, right? But I've worked, whether it's DoorDash, etc. I've done it all. So in terms of success, it's all about a mindset. It's not anything, you look at the poor usually, not the poor, let's hit the middle class. The middle class itself are very hateful. So we question ourselves, why are you hating?
Thank you.
The wealthy, you question, why do you hate the wealthy? The wealthy people have been in this position because they work hard.
Thank you. Wanda.
So I want to say this much. I have chosen Bowie as my residence. I wasn't born here, but I chose it. And I love Bowie just as much as anyone else does in this room. And what I've tried to do in my 2 years here is bring with me my experience leading organizations through change. And Bowie is a city that has reached a pivotal point where change is coming. When we hear about the budget numbers, you will have an awakening. You will say, okay, I need to engage. And I sincerely believe that everyone in this room should stay connected. You should look at the council meetings online. You should read what's going on in the city. If you can attend a council meeting, do so, because under my leadership, I truly believe that you all should be a part of any decision that we make. I also want to say that during my 2 years, I have showed up at just about every event. Not only have I showed up, but I've also listened. I've listened to your issues and your concerns. I've listened to your ups and your downs, and I also listened to you about your love of Bowie. Heck, they even had me, Claw had me be a judge for their pet costume for Halloween, because that's what I do. And I am sincere when I sit and talk to you about being a person that loves the city and thrives on my integrity and those things that I believe that are important to me. When I spent my years at Department of Treasury, one thing we always talked about was saving the taxpayer dollars. We were fiscal stewards, and I believe during these next couple years, you will need my leadership, because under a weak mayor management sort of organization,
Thank you, Wanda.
we have to negotiate decisions. People can't stand and make a decision by themselves. I thank you this evening for the opportunity.
Roxy, go ahead.
I want to start off by thanking all of you for being here tonight. You could be anywhere in the world, but you chose to come here and get civically engaged and meet all of us. And I think the number of candidates on this stage is reflective of what Bowie represents. In 1999, we chose Bowie and called Bowie home. My next door neighbor became my godmother. We were one of the first families in Glen Allen in the A section. But that's so many of our stories. Yes, it's true, during my career, I went off to San Francisco and Seattle during my corporate career and lived there. But I always came back because Bowie reflects the excellence that we represent out in the world. You need a mayor that is going to produce, that sees what's possible, that asks the right questions, that pushes us further. Yes, it's going to be hard for us, because at the end of the day, you've heard from every candidate up here that we are heavily reliant on property taxes. But the beautiful opportunity here is there is change out there, and we can go get it. I know that my number may not be shared with you. My palm cards are out there that has my cell phone number on there. If any of you have any questions, you are always welcome to reach out. But I promise you that under my leadership, with my corporate experience, with my 6 years here on City Council, delivering time and time again for District 4 and District 3 and all of the other districts that I have been fortunate enough to participate in, you will always get results. I will always work to bridge communities and bring us all together. We will always protect the green space and activate them through art and cultural programs. We will always make sure that we are doing economic development the right way and not oversaturate. We are always going to make sure that we're pulling in the infrastructure that we so desperately need. Now is the time to make Bowie resilient, because if we don't, later on down the line, we will feel it. Thank you so much.
Beyond my professional experience, in which I have received over 30 performance awards, 2 organizational awards, and as I said, 2024 Innovator of the Year for the commercial space in the Federal Aviation Administration. I've also created the Neighbor to Neighbor initiative within Bowie during the federal shutdown in assisting with donated items. Also led a Christmas clothing drive for the Prince George's County foster care system. I am also in the process of establishing an aero manufacturing technical training academy that will provide vocational skills, apprenticeships, and jobs for our students who are not on the college-bound trajectory and for the residents in Bowie. With all of that to say, I will bring that same energy and collaboration and a builder of opportunities to the city of Bowie. We need to do things differently. We need to think differently. And I am not telling you about a promise or a vision. I have provided specific action items, a 90-day plan. I am ready to start the first day. I have my plan right outside. So I am ready and I am willing to be here. And in my first 90 days, public safety, education, economic empowerment, and youth advocacy are going to be my priorities. My journey has taught me resilience, accountability, and importance of service. I know what it means to face challenges, and Bowie deserves leadership that is experienced, forward-thinking, and not just thinking that it's okay because I grew up here, and committed to every resident. I am ready to lead us to that next chapter, and remember, Brown would not let you down.
First and foremost, thank you all for coming out to listen to us this evening. It truly means a lot. I am Rebecca Pearce once again, and I am running to be your next mayor. I am a resident of here, Bowie. I've been here for over a decade. I went to Benjamin Tasker. I was the 8th grade class president. I went to Bowie High School. I was the senior class president. Initially, I was class of 2021, but I became senior class president of class of 2020. And then I went off to Howard University and was class president there and graduated 2 years ahead of schedule. I love community. I love advocacy. I've been in advocacy long before I knew what advocacy was. I've well invested into the community here in Bowie through mentorship with the youth. I was just at Benjamin Tasker Middle School this morning at the career day, and the faces that lit up on the students, it was incredible to just sit there and just be immersed by it. They simply saw a former Tasker student standing before them running for mayor. They were in awe. If you look around, there are little to no youth in this room, but they are the future. They want to see people like me stepping into leadership roles and showing them that the sky is their limit. That nobody can tell them that they're inexperienced or they're too young to shoot for the stars, because this is our future and we must take it back now. The current administration left us with crumbs. We can't afford houses. Property tax at its all-time high. My parents' BGU bills and their electricity bills are through the roof, and they're struggling, and we're left with crumbs. It is time for us to take action and change the trajectory of where things are going. And they want to see young leaders, fresh mind, bold thinking, to be put into these places to just bring the fresh ideas. And we're not supposed to do this alone. I'm not going to be doing this alone. I will have an amazing team around me implementing these changes that we're all advocating for. It's not a one-person job, and I'm here to ensure that I will continue to deliver, to advocate, to just show up where needed, and continue to be the voice for all residents, especially our youth, because they're the future and they must be invested in now. So thank you so much, and I really hope to earn your vote. My email is rebeccay.pierce@gmail.com, so feel free to reach out to me. Let me know any questions, any concerns, and I'm here to answer. And I thank you so much, and I hope to earn your vote. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't think I can move this, but anyway. Can everybody hear me? Initially, I want to thank my family for being here to support me. Thank you very much. Now, like I said before earlier on, I've been opportune and blessed to raise 7 children in this beautiful city, and they've done very well. They've gone to our schools here, and all, why am I saying this? Why do I really want to be mayor of Bowie? Since 2011, I've been knocking on your doors to elect me. Now is the opportunity for you guys to say, wow, when you raise your children, you say, go for it, be resilient, it's going to be all right. When you elect me as your mayor, you're telling all those children that there is hope, something better is coming, keep going, you can make it, right? When I'm your mayor, it's going to be, my style is going to be community-first style leadership, unprecedented transparency, period. No shakes, no nothing. Smart economic growth, as we've talked about, especially Main Street revitalization, safe, thriving, and walkable neighborhoods. We need to invest in our young ones, robust youth engagement, youth boys and girls clubs. For example, I mentored a couple of children at our Bowie High School right here, or I think it's on the left right here. My own money for a whole school year. I mentored this kid. The kid was told he was a bad child. I brought him back alive. The kid now has a master's degree. Once in a while in those years, I talk to him. Why am I saying this? When you volunteer your time, I've done that. I'm an experienced emergency, disaster emergency prepared personnel. So when any emergency comes in our city, you know I'm taking care of that. I'm going to assemble a team around me so that we can move our city forward. Our city is in challenge times. We need another person to lead this city.
I want to encourage all of you to hold your conversations with the candidates outside and exit with courtesy. But please join me in the end now for a hand of applause for all of us. And thanks for their showing up this evening, broadening our minds and deepening in our understanding of their candidacy as a prospect for our leadership.